Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're traveling deep into some incredibly ancient lore to witness a showdown of absolute cosmic proportions. Seriously, we're unpacking an account here that feels just like a massive blockbuster movie. We're talking impossible monsters, intense divine intervention, and an epic clash of primal elements. So let's break down this incredible story of King Kuvalaswa and his downright terrifying adversary.
So, I've got to ask, how exactly do you defeat a monster that the gods themselves literally cannot kill, right? It's the ultimate impossible scenario. In any good narrative, the stakes need to be high. But here, the stakes are the actual survival of the triple world, the entirety of the known universe. That's the central problem we're looking at today. We've got a villain who's effectively hacked the universe's system to make himself completely invincible to the highest powers in existence. As we go through this, I really want you to keep that question in the back of your mind. How on earth does humanity step up when the gods themselves are backed into a corner?
Now, to really grasp those stakes, we need to look at our villain's origin story. Meet the Asura Dhundhu, the son of Madhu and Kaitabha. And look, he didn't just stumble into this kind of power, he earned it through some horrifyingly extreme ascetic penance. I mean, he stood completely erect on a single leg for so long that his physical body was literally reduced to nothing but a mass of veins and arteries. Just imagine the sheer, terrifying willpower required to pull that off. This act of ultimate, grueling discipline gratified Brahma, the creator god, who essentially had no choice but to offer Dhundhu a boon, a divine wish. Armed with this new power, Dhundhu immediately vanquishes the gods and then just vanishes beneath a sea of sand.
And what exactly did he ask for? Well, here's the precise wording of his wish, straight from our source material. Let no one among the gods, the Danavas, the Rakshas, the snakes, the Gandharvas and the Rakshasas be capable of slaying me. This is basically the ultimate cheat code of the ancient world. He specifically lists out every single supernatural and divine faction out there, gods, demons, celestial musicians, mystical serpents, and demands that not a single one of them can lay a finger on him. And Brahma grants it. He just says, let it be as thou wishest. But did you catch what's notably missing from Dhundhu's extensive list? He completely forgets to mention mankind. He was so arrogant, so fixated on the celestial heavyweights, that he completely overlooked mortal men. And spoiler alert, that massive oversight is going to be his undoing.
So now, with this invincible boon in his back pocket, Dhundhu doesn't just immediately wipe out the universe. Instead, he becomes this terrifying ticking time bomb. He travels out to a sea of sands known as the Utanka Desert, and there he hides deep in a subterranean cave underneath the earth. The text actually tells us he's in there, breathing heavily, engaging in even more fierce ascetic austerities, and specifically plotting to destroy the triple world. And his heavy breathing is so intense, it's actually distressing the nearby asylum of a highly revered sage named Utanka. This isn't just a monster we're talking about, it's like a massive, localized earthquake just waiting to erupt. The gods are terrified, Utanka is distressed, and the universe desperately needs a champion.
Enter King Kuvalaswa. Prompted by the sage Utanka and infused with the divine energy of Lord Vishnu himself, Kuvalaswa steps up to the plate. But hey, he doesn't march alone. He brings 21,000 warriors. And those aren't just foot soldiers. That number represents the 21,000 sons of King Kuvalaswa. Every single one of them is described as being exceedingly powerful. So this isn't some small, stealthy assassination mission. This is a full-scale, apocalyptic military mobilization. The king and his 21,000 superhuman sons are literally marching to war to save reality itself.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer cinematic scale of their departure. The ancient texts go completely out of their way to describe this march not just as a military movement, but as a universally ordained event. I mean, as the king's army moves, the environment itself reacts. A loudly booming voice from the sky prophesies that the king is going to become the destroyer of Dhundhu. The gods are literally up there showering celestial flowers upon them. Invisible celestial kettle drums start playing their own marching music out of nowhere. Even the weather cooperates, providing cool breezes and gentle showers just to keep the dust down on the roads. High above, the flying cars of the celestials gather just to watch the spectacle. It's like the entire universe is holding its breath.
Finding Dhundhu, though, isn't as simple as just walking up to a cave. Remember, he's buried under a literal sea of sand.
Filled with Narayana's energy, Kuvalaswa orders his 21,000 sons to start digging. And guys, this isn't a quick afternoon operation. It takes 7 continuous, grueling days of thousands of immensely powerful warriors excavating an entire wilderness. Day after day, they are just digging deeper and deeper into the Ujdalaka desert. The physical toll and the rising suspense must have been absolutely agonizing. But finally, on the 7th day, they hit something.
Just imagine being one of those sons on that 7th day. The sand falls away, and you uncover this. The scale of Dhundhumara is absolutely jaw-dropping. The text states that his huge body covered the entire western region of the desert. So he isn't just a giant beast. He's described as being effulgent in its own energy like the sun himself. So they haven't just dug up a monster. They've effectively unearthed a buried, hostile sun. The visual contrast here is just amazing. A dark, subterranean cave suddenly illuminated by the terrifying, blinding radiance of an awakened cosmic threat.
The second he's exposed, all hell breaks loose. The 21,000 sons unleash an absolute frantic torrent of violence. They don't even hesitate. They swarm the recumbent Asura from all sides, throwing literally everything they have at him. We're talking sharp-pointed shafts, maces, heavy clubs, axes, iron spikes, darts, and keen-edged swords. It is a massive, coordinated, all-out physical assault by an army of powerful warriors against a waking beast. The pace of the whole narrative suddenly shifts from the slow, deliberate excavation into a blindingly fast, totally chaotic melee.
But hey, remember that boon we talked about earlier, that cosmic cheat code? Well, here's exactly where it kicks in. That massive physical assault results in absolutely nothing. The enraged Asura literally just swallows the various weapons being hurled at him. They are completely and utterly useless. And in retaliation, Dhundhu doesn't just fight back. He opens his colossal mouth and vomits fiery flames. But listen, this isn't your normal, everyday fire. The text specifically likens it to the fire called Samvarta, the mythological fire that appears at the absolute end of the Yuga, the fire meant to destroy the entire world.
So the crucial point is the sons never stood a chance. It is a moment of profound and sudden tragedy. In a single, devastating fraction of a second, that apocalyptic fire vomited from Dhundhu's mouth entirely consumes all 21,000 sons of the king. Just like that, an entire army, an entire generation of the king's family is wiped out in a flash. The text likens it to the Lord Kapila consuming the sons of King Sagra. It happens in an instant. The dust settles, the smoke clears, and standing alone amidst the literal ashes of his thousands of children is King Kuvalaswa, face to face with the wrathful Asura.
And this brilliantly illustrates the turning point of our myth, shifting drastically from fire right into water. The Asura, described almost like a waking Kumbhakarna, is spewing this world-ending flame. But King Kuvalaswa? He doesn't counter with physical weapons, we already saw those fail. Instead, possessed of mighty energy and filled with profound yoga force, a massive and copious stream of water begins to flow directly from the king's own body. It's a divine, purely elemental counterattack. This magical torrent of water clashes head-on with the apocalyptic fire and instantly extinguishes the flames emitted by the Asura. The ultimate fire is completely quenched by the ultimate water. Now, with the flames completely doused by his mystic water, King Kuvalaswa seizes the final advantage. He summons the celebrated Brahma weapon. This is a divine projectile of just immense, unparalleled power, and he strikes. Because the king is mortal, remember, he entirely bypasses Dhundhu's carefully worded boon, and the wicked Daicha is finally consumed and slain. The triple world is at long last relieved of its greatest fear. And because of this incredible, literal universe-saving feat, King Kuvalaswa earns a brand new, legendary title. He becomes known forevermore as Dhundhumara, which literally translates to the Slayer of Dhundhu.
Let's move to the aftermath and see how this builds out. The gods and the great rishis who are watching all of this from the sky are absolutely thrilled. They descend and offer the victorious Dhundhumara any boon he desires. Now, despite just losing his entire army of sons, the king's requests are remarkably pure. He doesn't ask for his sons back. Instead, he asks for the ability to always give wealth to the wise, invincibility against foes, a deep friendship with Lord Vishnu, a heart that always turns to virtue, and to finally dwell in heaven forever. The gods, incredibly moved by his nobility, joyfully grant him every single wish.
But wait, what about that immense tragedy that triggered this victory in the first place? While 21,000 perished in those flames, 3 miraculously survived. Yeah, it turns out 3 of his sons had actually made it through the inferno. Their names were Dridaswa, Kapilaswa, and Chandraswa. The ancient text makes a massive point to highlight this, because these three surviving sons didn't just fade away into history. They actually went on to become the founding fathers of the illustrious and immensely powerful line of kings known as the Ikshwaku race. So out of unparalleled destruction, a truly legendary dynasty was born.
Now, I want to bring this directly back to you, listening right now. Our source text concludes with a fascinating promise regarding the very story we just went over together. It states that anyone who listens to this holy history becomes blessed with long life, great good fortune, and ceases to have any fear of diseases. It really shows us that in the ancient world, these narratives weren't just simple entertainment, they were active, powerful tools meant to bless the listener and impart virtue. So I'll leave you with this final thought. If stories have the power to shape our reality, fortify our courage, and even heal our anxieties, what kind of stories are you choosing to listen to today? Thanks so much for diving into this explainer with me.